So March has never been a great month for me and my family, particularly for me. I can't speak for everyone in my family, but I speak for myself. I remember getting this phone call literally after at the time I was married and I was at a funeral in Arkansas with my ex-wife. At that time, she was my wife with her family. They were burying their aunt. And I remember getting this phone call from my mom. And my mom, usually calls me every now and then. But when it comes to bad news in my family, I'm usually the last person to know. And I remember getting this phone call after I just dropped off my wife at the time and her family members to the hotel. And I was going to the store to get a couple more items before I go in for the night after we already then had the funeral for her aunt and everything else. And I got this phone call it's from my mom's phone, but it was my sister calling me. Or it could have been my sister calling, I don't remember. But I remember my sister telling me, my first cousin, who I met when I was a little kid, at my own brother's, doing my own brother's funeral and everything else. And me and him, been we've been like two peas in a pod in terms of he been doing great things and I was doing great things. He was about a year or 2 years older than me, but we always tracked each other and everything else. And he was doing some amazing stuff. I was doing my amazing thing. And I remember when he had an accident. Great high school football player, probably was gonna play high school and college and elsewhere, and he got injured and and literally had to be nursed back to health. His whole left side, uh, well, I can't say it was left or right side. Don't remember, so don't quote me on that. But he had to be nursed back to health and everything else. But he went on to become a great salesman, selling steaks and things like that. So I say all that to fast forward. So being in Arkansas, my sister called me and said my cousin passed away. And I remember sitting in the car, it really didn't hit me. I got a phone where it said, okay, as soon as I went to the hotel room, walked through that hotel door, it was like my family knew to call my wife. And it was like they were standing at the door. Because as soon as I walked in, it was like tears just started coming down my face as soon as I hit the door. And I just remember saying, why? So I share this story to simply say, so month of March, everybody know my brother passed away. He committed suicide. His birthday is, my brother passed away March 10th. His birthday is March 13th. My cousin passed away March 21st. So it's a long stretch for somebody like myself or anyone, a grieving family, to deal with these dates in particular. And it just reminds me of how precious life is because my cousin had told me what made me and him click. I remember him telling me after my brother's funeral about my next door neighbor. Him and his cousin were laughing in the back about my brother's funeral. Being a 9-year-old kid, I was completely upset, ready to go beat up my next door neighbor. My cousin went with me and we knocked on the next door neighbor's door and his mom came to the door and was, and said, he's sorry, whatever he did, da da da. But I was still mad. But my cousin and me just clicked ever since then. Now, I remember seeing him on my birthday at my surprise birthday party and just telling him, hey, man, what's up? Everything all right? Let me connect with you. We need to catch up soon. So you never know when it'll be the last time you see your loved one. So in moments like this, it's a reflection on life that those who you haven't talked to in a while, those who just cross your mind, if you made plans with them, pick up the phone, FaceTime them, duel them. Don't just text, hear their voice. And I say that to say that was the last time I ever saw my cousin was at my surprise birthday party. I didn't think 2 months later I wouldn't see him again. So I share this story simply to say, if you have a loved one you haven't spoken to, a loved one you care about, reach out to them. Don't allow this to be the last time you see your loved one, you talk to your loved one, because we don't know when our time will come, but know this. God loves us all, and it's a reason why people cross our hearts, minds, and our thoughts, because God is telling us, reach out to them. So don't feel bad that you never reached out if you never reached out to others who have passed. Take this time to really reach out to those who are still living right now. Give them their kudos. Give them their roses. Give them their awards. Give them some words of encouragement. That was just my 2 cents.